the Auditor General revealed that only 15% of calls get responses on time, and even if someone does pick up the phone, there's an 83% chance they give you the wrong answer. Why does this government force Canadians to pay so much for such terrible service? He admits they have to do better. It's not possible for them to do any worse, Mr. Speaker. That she talked to this person, and she talked to that person, and she talked to this other person, and she talked, and she talked, and they talk, and they talk, and nothing gets done, Mr. Speaker. Canadians are tired of talk. They want their job. This government, or this Prime Minister, looked these workers in the eye and said he would negotiate a win, that he would protect auto jobs, that there would be an all-in-Canada supply chain that would keep them working. They got all.
Each and every dollar that this Prime Minister spends costs us. Each dollar is expensive for Canadians. This government and the Justin Trudeau government doubled inflation. Today, Statistics Canada published new numbers according to which inflation is rising. 4 indicators are higher than projected, and grocery prices are going up twice as fast as the target. Will the Prime Minister in the upcoming budget decrease his taxes and inflationary spending so that Canadians can lead affordable lives? Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to see that the opposition leader is excited for November 4th. I'm excited too, as are Canadians. Why? Because we will have good news on November 4th, Mr. Speaker. We will present good news to Canadians. We will present an ambitious plan. Last week, I was in Washington, and the Director General of the International Monetary Fund gave Canada and Germany as excellent examples of countries with the ability to make generational investments. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to build a strong, ambitious Canada in which Canadians are happy and proud. Mr. Speaker, we don't work for bankers in Washington. We're here working for single mothers who can't pay their bills, who can't afford groceries. The inflation rate is exploding, and this means that Canadians have to spend 70% more for the Canada Revenue Agency. Today, the Auditor General revealed that 15% of calls to the CRA are answered at some point. But even if you can get someone on the phone, you get the wrong information 83% of the time. Why do Canadians have to pay so much for such poor service? Mr. Speaker, I have even more good news for the opposition leader. He'll be happy to know that on this side of the House, Mr. Speaker, we have already taken action. We presented a 100-day plan to fix the situation at the Canada Revenue Agency, because on the government side of the House, we know that we have to do better. We know that we have to give Canadians good information. We know we have to be helpful, and we do something else on this side of the House. Mr. Speaker, we respect people who work in public service. We respect public servants, and we will always do our best at all times to serve Canadians.
He admits they have to do better. It's not possible for them to do any worse, Mr. Speaker. The reality is today we learned that inflation is again on the march. All 4 measures of inflation are above Bank of Canada's targets. 2 are outside of and above the acceptable range. Food price inflation is rising 2 times the rate that Bank of Canada targets. No wonder we have 2 million people lined up at food banks every single day. This inflation has exploded since this Prime Minister doubled the deficit. Will he reverse his inflationary deficit and taxes in this coming budget?
Mr. Speaker, I think we all know in this side of the House and Canadians, math might not be the cup of tea of the Leader of the Opposition. Neither may be economics, Mr. Speaker. But let me quote one of the authorities in the world, which is the Director General of the International Monetary Fund, Mr. Speaker. She said just last week, then we have countries in the G7 that are in a better position. Germany and Canada stand up in that regard, Mr. Speaker. Both Germany and Canada recognize that this is a very testing time and they need to use their fiscal space. In the case of Canada, the Canadian authorities have been very decisive in taking action. Mr. Speaker, we're doing it.
Mr. Speaker, his banker friends in Washington may think that they have fiscal space, but the single mothers who can't afford groceries have no space left at all to pay for liberal inflation. This government is forcing them to spend 70% more on the Canadian Revenue Agency. Today, the Auditor General revealed that only 15% of calls get responses on time. And even if someone does pick up the phone, there's an 83% chance they give you the wrong answer. Why does this government force Canadians to pay so much for such terrible service?
Speaker, we will take no lessons from these conservatives. Trust me on that, Mr. Speaker. At every step of the way, they fought against dental care, Mr. Speaker. At every step of the way, they fought against the National School Food Program, Mr. Speaker. At every step of the way, they fought against farmer care, Mr. Speaker. At every step of the way, they fought against the programs that would support Canadians in time of need, Mr. Speaker. No one on this side of this House will tell us what to do. We're going to fight for Canadians. We're going to make Canada strong, Mr. Speaker.
Another day, more costly slogans from that member of Parliament.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition from the top.
Another day and more costly slogans. But now Canadians are learning it was a bait and switch. Today, another terrible tragedy. As they laugh, 1,200 workers at the Ingersoll Cami plant learned that they would lose their jobs after that Prime Minister promised he would negotiate a win and that he would keep their jobs here in Canada. They join with 2,000 workers in Brampton, many more in Oshawa.
I'll tell you how the Prime Minister how he will deal with the auto sector. He will look at the auto workers in the eyes and he will say, we will fight for your jobs. And that's exactly what we're doing. Every single day, we're negotiating back in Washington, but also, this is important to say that I met this morning with the Canadian CEO of GM. I was in conversation with the head of the labor union of Unifor, and I also talked to Doug Ford, and I talked to Vic Fideli. And you know what? We're putting in place a response group. We will make sure that we fight for these jobs. We need to make sure that...
She announced just now that she talked to this person, and she talked to that person, and she talked to this other person, and she talked, and she talked, and they talk, and they talk, and nothing gets done, Mr. Speaker. Canadians are tired of talk. They want their job. This government, or this Prime Minister, looked these workers in the eye and said he would negotiate a win, that he would protect auto jobs, that there would be an all-in-Canada supply chain that would keep them working. They even gave $250 million tax dollars to GM for this plant. And now those workers don't know how they're going to pay their bills. How does this government explain the broken promise and betrayal?
For these jobs, and we will hold the companies to account.
That's right.
That being said, let me talk to you about important jobs. 150 new jobs in St. Benoit, Alstom. 700 new jobs at AstraZeneca.